Hi, I'm Charlie, and today on Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders, my guest is Artie Turner. Artie, morning.
Good morning, Charlie. Thank you.
Good to see you.
You as well.
So Artie is a behavioral health consultant with Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. He is a honoree of 40 Under 40 with the Milwaukee Business Journal. He's also a Forward 48 member. And in full transparency, I've known Artie for several years. I knew him because his adopted parents lived across the street from us and met Artie several times. So I'm proud to say I knew him when. Artie, thanks for coming out this morning. I'd like to start at the beginning. So we ask people, and I know you were born here in Milwaukee and grew up here. So why don't you talk about your early years heading off before you head off to college?
Sure. So, I was born and raised in Milwaukee. Had a unique childhood. I was raised by my mom, Lily Turner, up until about the age of 9 in Milwaukee. And I like to share that I went to Lloyd Street School. I attended the neighborhood house in Milwaukee where my mom worked as a daycare assistant. And I did that. I was in the after school program. I did summer camps there, and it was just an awesome experience. We didn't live in the greatest neighborhood, but I think going to neighborhood house was a wonderful distraction, where there was skating, the gym, arts. We went on a lot of field trips. So the neighborhood house to me was a place where, I could get away, and it was a distraction from some of the dangers that were, near where we lived. But my mom, she was one of the strongest people, I knew. And, we walked everywhere. We took the bus everywhere. Wherever we walked, she would hold my hand, and she would squeeze it so tight by the time we got there, I couldn't feel my hand. But she was absolutely amazing. And at the neighborhood house, we actually met my adoptive parents, Maddie and Jeff. And, we became great friends with them to the point where we were going to their house and just hanging out. I got to play outside. They helped me with homework. And they've just done a lot of wonderful things for their neighborhood house. And, I was really happy as a kid to know them. And unfortunately, when I was 9 years old, my mom passed away from breast cancer. And when she was in the hospital, she actually asked Maddie and Jeff if they would be willing to take care of me. And they agreed. And it was, it's a difficult thing, I think, for anyone to lose someone, especially their mother. But at 9, it was a unique challenge. And I like to, when I share it with people, I do share kind of I don't know if you've ever seen the TV series This Is Us.
Oh, yeah, it was must-see TV, yes.
Yes. So Randall, who was played by Sterling K. Brown, played Randall, and he was doing a podcast, and he explained kind of Randall's journey. And I like to share, my journey from a predominantly, black environment, and then I moved or transitioned to a predominantly white environment with Maddie and Jeff. And I usually write in my journal at work after sessions. And I did, when I heard Sterling K. Brown on a podcast, he was explaining Randall's story.
Right.
And I like to kind of share Randall's little story that I feel like relates to, my situation and, kind of what I went through earlier on. And Sterling K. Brown said that, I kind of phrased it in the way that I would share it. So as a 9-year-old black male adoptee, I was figuring out my own blackness while being raised in the context of white people and, being abandoned by my birth father and having this complex of the not enoughness. I always thought, am I black enough, smart enough? And that stuck with me, and I wanted to make sure I felt like that I'm enough, then people would want me, they would love me. But Maddie and Jeff were, people in my life that always made me feel enough. No matter what I did, whether it was sports, had a good game, bad game, grades, bad grade, good grades, they always said they were proud of me. And I really struggled with the not enoughness, but Maddie and Jeff, really took care of that, and they are the most amazing parents that a person could ever have. And I always say that they saved my life, and they've always been there for me. And it was just a little something I like to share because that was one of my favorite TV shows, and I just felt like it was relatable. But it was definitely a big transition from the environment I grew up in to, being adopted. But it was also one of the most beautiful things that could ever happen to me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we obviously, Maddie and Jeff lived across the street from us when we lived up the road in Shorewood, and got to know them. And enjoyed our time there, and listening to you tell your story, I can see how that, except for the Jeff part. No, we're kidding. Jeff is a great guy. I had a great time when living there, and actually we went out to lunch several times after we moved. So really enjoyed my friendship with Jeff and Maddie, and
they're amazing.
So we'll stop talking about them. We'll talk about you. So eventually, you wind your way towards college. I know you went to Concordia.
Yes.
Up north.
In Mequon, yep.
Or we say Mequon.
Is that the pronunciation?
No, it's Mequon. So in Concordia, you both got bachelor's and master's.
Yes.
So did you have a plan after graduating?
I did not have a plan. Actually, I started off at Concordia. I played basketball for 1 year, so I had an athletic background, and my thought was to do athletic training or physical therapy. But some of the science courses that I took earlier on just wasn't for me. I couldn't do it.
I don't blame you.
And there's actually one day in particular after an anatomy class, I was like, this is just not it. And I was actually enrolled in a Psychology 101 course. And I called my mom first, Maddie, to tell her, hey, I want to switch my major to psychology. And she was like, that makes sense. And then she handed the phone to my dad, Jeff, which when I told him that I wanted to switch my major to psychology, he was like, kid, I don't know what you're going to do with that. But at the end of the day, after that conversation, he did come to the realization he knew that was the right path for me. And so I did my undergrad in psychology, and then of course I stayed at Concordia and I did my master's degree. And after that, you basically you have to do an internship before you get your master's or your license. So I did my master's degree at Rogers Behavioral Health, not my master's degree, my internship in the partial hospitalization unit. So I worked there as an intern. Partial hospitalization unit at Rogers was more so, the ages I worked with was like 13 to 17. And it was an area that kids or teens would come for 6 hours a day, struggling with depression, anxiety, struggling with self-harm behaviors, suicidal ideation, past suicidal attempts, and that's where I did my internship. So I think it's a great start for anyone who's going into counseling, just to experience the acuity of what you see at Rogers. I was then hired on to work in the partial hospitalization unit, and I worked there for about 2 to 3 years, I would say.
Okay.
So after that, the individual who hired me on at Rogers left and started a outpatient therapy clinic at St. A, which is now called WellPoint Care Network. So I followed her there, and I worked as an outpatient therapist for about another 3 years. And at St. A, WellPoint Care Network, I worked with a lot of court-ordered individuals, which is very difficult because they don't want to be there. And I worked with a lot of individuals from Huber who, were struggling with a multitude of things, whether it be domestic violence, driving under the influence, and things of that nature. And I did a little couples work too, which it.
Now? Okay. My wife's in the audience. As long as Artie's here, I might as well,
And my time at St. A, it was a great learning experience, but it was emotionally taxing, especially just working with families, that were court ordered to be there, and it was day in and day out, it was difficult. And so I found myself like thinking like, is this really for me? And I went on this 1.5 year long networking journey while being at St. A. And I'm a therapist. I'm a licensed clinical therapist, and I was thinking like there has to be something else. My skills have to be transferable. And I was telling people this at St. A at the time. They're like, "Well, what would you do?" And I was like, "Well, there has to be something because this ain't it." My mom Maddie, she knows a lot of people in the community, so she kind of kicked me off with introducing me to people, and it went from there. So I was taking a lot of PPL, which now I can say, I'm not working there anymore. It took a lot of PPL to meet people, whether it be for brunch, breakfast, because it's different. As a therapist, we have scheduled visits. Sure. And, for, I would say, like people who work in like business or just like commercial space, whatever that may be, they have autonomy over their schedule. I didn't. So if they said, yeah, Artie, I can meet you, for brunch, you want to meet at 11?
You're on their schedule.
PPL it is.
Right.
So I would take the whole day off just to run around Milwaukee, just to meet people, which...
Sounds so bad.
No, it wasn't, and it actually led me to where I am today, I believe, because during that journey, I met with some wonderful people, some wonderful leaders, and I ended up meeting one individual from Children's who gave me an opportunity in the foundation at Children's.
Okay.
And
So let's talk about Children's, because that is the work that's there. The work preceding put you on a path, but the work that you're doing at Children's is what got you nominated and then picked as a 40 under 40 honoree. So talk about the work that you do, and I know on one hand it can be rewarding, and on the other hand, as you've mentioned, it can be very tough.
Yeah.
So kind of talk about that and how that feeds into our what we try to talk about here is what people are trying to make our city a better place.
Yeah, now I'm at Children's Wisconsin as a behavioral health consultant, and it definitely is therapy, conventional therapy in general it can weigh heavy on you. And the position that I'm in as a consultant at Children's is there are many therapists, licensed therapists that are put in I would say every primary care location for Children's to provide mental health care. But it's a little different than conventional therapy. It's more so brief interventions, evidence-based strategies, very quick, not the 45 to 60 minutes. It's 20 to 30 minutes or even less.
Okay.
So you have your own office visits, which could be 20 to 30 minutes, but you could also have a same day. So I have office visits every day, whether that's 7 to 8 office visits of my own, and then I work alongside pediatricians, and they have their physicals, and during those physicals, patients and families get screeners, depression screens, suicide screens, and if those are elevated, we would be paged to come see those families.
Okay.
So if you can imagine me doing an office visit of my own with a kiddo who's struggling with depression or anxiety or having their own suicidal ideations, or even like a 5-year-old who's struggling with tantrums, behavioral concerns, getting kicked out of daycare, I can get a page, or it can be seen on my computer, like, one doctor, hey, Artie, I need you in room 11, suicide screen is elevated. So you have to pause that current visit to leave and go to another visit, to help someone who has an elevated suicide screen. And you could be in that visit and get paged again for, a person in exam room 9 that is struggling with depression or anxiety, or, a 2-year-old that the parents just feel like the behavior is just not normal. So it's a lot in one day.
There's a lot of stress in that too.
Yeah.
So, well, that's the work that is done in that area for children. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, it wasn't easy growing up when we were young, but now it can't be. We had it, a walk in the park compared to what's going on with kids today. There's just so much going on. So the work that you do is so appreciated, and hopefully the people that you work with, there's some appreciation there too.
Definitely. I work alongside some pretty cool individuals, especially at my current clinic, which is River Glen Pediatrics, and I'm able to get through the day, just based off their kindness and their patience. And yeah, I mean, during those days, you do have to take time for yourself because I like to say that you're, as a clinician or a behavioral health consultant, therapist, you're holding a lot of invisible weights while also carrying your own. So every day can be quite a bit. But then also I have a supporting family, and my wife is amazing, to where, when I come home, I'm excited to see her, and we have a Frenchie named Moose, which this is my first time living with an animal, but Moose is awesome. I love Moose, and they make they definitely make my days better once I'm home.
So is Maddie still setting up meetings for you to kind of take off for lunch or whatever?
No,
Not happening? Okay.
No, but yeah, she introduced me to a lot of people. So
good. All right, so we call this Serious People with Serious Jobs, having a little fun.
Okay.
We're having a little fun today. So that's an apron. I want to put it on, so we're going to get ready to put together. So I know what we're making today, and I'm going to ask Artie to explain it. But this is the 77th show I've done for Cooking with Community Leaders. And I've done a dozen or so of Munching Around Milwaukee podcasts with restaurateurs and chefs and stuff. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is the healthiest meal that anyone has ever prepared, and not even close. So, Artie.
yeah,
What are we making today?
we're making protein balls. So I have a big sweet tooth, and I'm a health enthusiast. I like to say I'm a health enthusiast, and I wanted to make protein balls because the food that I make is really basic, whether it's like lean ground beef with broccoli, chicken, with broccoli. That's pretty much it. So I didn't want to come to your podcast and just stink it up with lean ground beef.
Well, I wouldn't have minded, but I'm excited to put together these protein balls. I think we have a little fruit to go along with it.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're filling. They satisfy your sweet tooth. They have a lot of nutrient dense, good ingredients, protein packed. They're amazing in my opinion, and my wife enjoys them.
Good. All right, so give us a minute. We're going to go back here in the kitchen area and put everything together. We'll be right back. All right, so we're here in the kitchen area. Artie, why don't you take it away?
All right, so we're going to start making our protein balls here, and we're going to start with 1.5 cup of old-fashioned rolled oats.
Okay. And we think they're gluten-free.
Yes.
We're going to say they're gluten-free.
We're going to say they're gluten-free.
Oats, for the most part, are gluten-free. There's some that aren't, but for today's purposes, it's gluten-free.
Yes.
All right.
So 1.5 cup of oats.
All right. So 1.5 cup of regular old-fashioned oats.
Right. That should be enough for 10 people.
All right. So yeah, we do have a little crowd out today. We got some fruit, and we have the protein balls.
And then we're going to do 1/3 cup of vanilla protein.
Okay.
Throw that in.
All right.
1/3 cup of honey, specifically wildflower honey.
Okay. All right. So we got honey, oats, and vanilla protein.
Yep.
All right.
Help with.
All right.
All the balls stick together.
Okay. There's going to be a lot of jokes, so we're going to just pretend we're not going to say them.
All right.
No jokes from the audience on anything that you might think is funny. There's the audience back there. It's part of the audience.
And after that, we're going to do 3/4 cup of peanut butter.
All right.
And this is actually natural Jif honey, creamy peanut butter.
Is that Jeff honey? Jeff. Okay.
Jeff.
Okay. I thought it was I thought it was an homage to Jeff. Okay. See, I told you that's all I do is make jokes.
I love it.
All right. So we got. Is this chunky or creamy?
This is creamy.
Okay. Good.
Always creamy.
All right.
Put that into the bowl.
Peanut butter to the honey.
And then I'm going to throw in 1/4 cup of the semi-sweet mini chocolate chips.
Oh, I think you can be a little heavy-handed with the chocolate chip.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I'll do it over the bowl, and
all right. If some
there's
spill
access, that's totally fine. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
There you go. A little spillage.
There's several rules of cooking, Artie. I don't know how familiar But there's no such thing as too much butter,
Too much butter.
no such thing as too much bacon,
Okay.
or there's no such thing as too much chocolate.
Well,
So we got, we're hitting the not enough chocolate, or not too much chocolate. All right, so what we got next?
and then I'm gonna do some cinnamon, but I just
Okay.
like to just sprinkle
Eyeball
a
it.
little bit of cinnamon, eyeball it,
Yeah, so cinnamon
Okay.
to taste.
and then the same with the chia seeds.
Okay.
It's having a multitude of health benefits.
All right, so we got
Little
chia
sprinkle
seeds going
there.
in.
What we do from there is just mix it in.
All right,
All right.
so we're gonna mix everything together, get it nice and melded, and then we're gonna make the protein balls, and they have to sit, correct?
They gotta sit in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes.
Okay. And I know they can, with the ingredients here, they can be somewhat filling, so.
Oh, yeah.
How big a size? Are we golf ball size, or
I would say golf ball. Sometimes I make them a little bigger if I have a big sweet tooth, or
not baseball size?
no, not baseball size.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah, just I would say golf ball size.
Okay.
Especially if I have to
Pickleball
show
size?
Pickleball, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that looks good.
Okay.
All right, and then what we're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
is just make some balls.
All right, so we're gonna put these on a tray, and then we'll put them in the fridge, and then we will let them sit for about 20 minutes,
20 minutes.
and then we're gonna sit down and eat them with some fruit. All right, that's about the size we want. That's golf ball size. All right, so we're gonna put these together. Artie's doing a fabulous job. I'm doing my usual job of really doing nothing but telling jokes. So give us a minute, and we'll be right back to sit down and have a taste. All right, we're back. So, Artie, tell us what we got here.
So we have some delicious protein balls mixed with some berries and a little mint on top.
All righty. So you're the guest, so why don't you go ahead and serve yourself first.
Sure.
And then we've got some fruit that the audience, go ahead and help
then
yourselves.
We also have some delicious hop water, which is a non-alcoholic drink with some really healthy
Why don't you show one to, while I'm serving, go ahead and get your stuff.
Sure.
And then I'm going to serve myself, and then you can show us the hop water. Speaking of the devil, hello, devil. Tom has just entered the premises.
Hey, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Tom is here. You sitting yet?
Hello.
If you want to sit.
Just be really quick because
All right. All right, so we'll pass this around to the audience is getting a little unruly. All right, so Artie, so show your hot water there.
So we also have hop water, which is a non-alcoholic drink. I don't drink alcohol, but it's a great drink to have. If you go to a beer garden, it's filled with some really good ingredients. It has ashwagandha, L-theanine. That's good for stress.
And it's flavored.
Calmness, and it's different flavors. This is peach.
Ooh,
So,
I'll try a little peach.
all right.
Love peach. We'll see how it. Is it all peach?
No, there's
It's a-
blood orange, mango, and lime as well.
Oh, maybe I'll mix the mango and peach.
Thank you.
Would anyone like a little peach hop water? Hop. Anybody? I'll just keep it here.
Yes.
There's some
it's
cups.
amazing.
Will you pass the cups around? There we go. All right. We're going to eat while you all do whatever. All right. I'm going to use my fingers. Tom, you weren't here when we were making it, but I told Artie there's chocolate chips in there. There's no such thing as too much chocolate, so
Oh, okay.
we should be good to go. No. So, Tom is on a high-protein diet, so these are perfect for him. So he may take home one or two.
Oh, protein pack. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good.
Protein pack.
So the audience, verdicts, have you guys dug in yet?
Yeah, these would be great in the morning with my coffee.
Oh, it's great.
He'll be making these. Yep, definitely.
There we go. Everybody wants more? There's plenty.
These would be a great substitution for those highly processed bars.
I think they need a little more chocolate chip.
Now, Artie, can you eat these balls with your hands, or should you use a fork?
You could edit anything.
That's right.
You caught that one, okay?
I said at the beginning, there's going to be so many jokes flying around here. There's going to be a lot of edits going on. Based on the unruliness of this audience, I think we're going to thank Artie so much.
Thank you, Charlie. This is awesome. Thank
It
you.
was great to see you. Appreciate all the work that you do in the community.
Right on.
And
Have a check.
there's a lot going on. So we're going to end a little early. These are delicious, high protein. What's a normal amount for a growing boy like me to eat?
I mean, it's up to you. They are filling, but I mean, my wife has had maybe 4 in a row.
4 in a serving? Oh my God.
She didn't understand Canada.
There's going to be a lot of retribution after this show, as I'm afraid to say. Anyway, so thanks so much for taking the time to watch this episode. This is our last one for a while. We are on vacation for about a month or so. We'll be back with more episodes in the late summer, early fall. So until then, thanks for supporting Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Boy, is there a lot of people here today. There you go. Good night. Yeah. Thanks for listening to another episode of Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is brought to you by Cooking Secrets for Men, LLC, and was recorded in the 3rd Ward in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We feature and profile community leaders who are trying to make Milwaukee a better place. The tagline is, serious people with serious jobs having a little fun. Our guests choose the recipes that we use on the show. All of our podcasts are available on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get great podcasts. The original YouTube video for this episode is available on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men, all rights reserved. Thanks, and see you next time on Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders.